it's Elyse here at Bowman Library with a whole new middle grade book spotlight. So for this week, we are doing something a little bit different. This week, we are exploring some of my favorite reads so far of 2022. Now I will tell you this, not all of the books that we have here have been published in 2022. There are some 2021s in here, but these are some amazing titles that I have read this year that I cannot wait to share with you. Some of them we've talked about, others maybe we haven't, but what I love about this is we are now in October. Use these titles to kickstart your reading to finish out the year strong. If you have a reading challenge, use these to get you, maybe to kickstart that reading challenge, even if it's just to read 1 or 2 books by the end of this year. We have 3 months. We can do this. I know we can. So we're going to use these 6 books to kind of get us enthused, get us jump started. So let's get started. Our first one is Ground Zero by Alan Gratz, and I will just put a plug in. Alan Gratz is amazing. Recommend any of his stuff. He has this a way of writing that, yeah, Ground Zero is no exception. So we have 2 parallel stories, one that takes place on September 11th, 2001 in New York City, and the other on September 11th, 2019 in Afghanistan. Brandon, who is out of school due to fighting, finds himself in downtown New York City when everything happens on 9/11 with the World Trade Towers, and he's running for his life. It is 18 years later that we meet Rashima, and Rashima sees her village and family ruined by the Taliban and the US military forces due to their fighting each other. Their 2 stories will intersect in ways you will not see coming, and I don't want to ruin, and it brings to light not only the events of September 11th in 2001 and what happened in the months and years after, but the emotions and the personal impacts as well on so many people across the globe. In his typical style, Gratz does not shy away from these tough topics, feelings, and you will not regret that he makes that choice, because you will be right there with our main characters. This is Ground Zero. Red, White, and Whole, and I will tell you this is a bit of a tearjerker. Just warning you right now. So Rhea is an Indian American middle schooler growing up in the 1980s, and she finds herself trying to fit into 2 completely different worlds. The one that she's in when it's Monday through Friday. She's at school with her friends, and then there's the weekends, Saturday and Sunday, when she's with her family and her Indian best friend. Rhea is frustrated by how her parents treat her, and she wants to be more, quote, white. Everything changes though when her mother is admitted to the hospital one evening and it's discovered that she has leukemia, and Rhea has no idea how to deal with this, especially as her mother continues to get worse and finds herself gaining, and that she's going to need to gain support and strength from both groups of people in her life. And she starts to realize that maybe she can be both American and Indian. This amazing novel in verse is one that's filled with family, friendship, understanding, coming of age. It will have you crying, and it's perfect for readers who are just not in like the middle grade group. I loved this book. Yeah, cannot give this one enough. This is Red, White, and Whole. Kaleidoscope by Brian Selznick. One of my favorite all-time authors, one of my all-time favorite books. Mention if you go grab a read, there's a shout out for that one. Kaleidoscope is a unique collection of short stories, and we follow an unnamed boy who is our narrator through these short stories. And he explores stories with his best friend James, who we soon realize died as they traveled to the moon on the narrator's 13th birthday. It is there James enters into a battle to fight the sun in order to make sure it will stay night and for there to be dreams so the sun doesn't just take everything over. When James wins, he finds out he's going to be crowned king. But then he also learns, because now that he is king, he is going to have to stay on the moon while the narrator has to return to Earth. You will read and experience the experiences they have on their last evening together before they are separated, as they question everything they know and what it all means. This classic Selznick story is amazingly illustrated. I mean, like, look at this. I mean, like, come on now. This is just done with pencil. I mean, like, gorgeous, amazing, super talented. But I will tell you this story can be a little confusing at times. But if you like a book that will make you think, will make you question, as well as you start to see things maybe a little bit differently than you did before you started the book, especially when it comes to dealing with grief, this is one you need to check out. This is Kaleidoscope. Dress coded. So Molly Fisher is in 8th grade and her whole class is looking forward to their annual camping trip. But when that gets canceled due to one student, whose name is Olivia, she's caught breaking the dress code that's set for the students at the school. And all she did was she was wearing a tank top with spaghetti straps, but it was under her sweatshirt, and she had to take her sweatshirt off so she could hide a stain on her pants. Yeah, that was the offense that was committed. Molly decides that the problem was not necessarily Olivia, but the school's enforcement of the dress code policy, or how they pick and choose what and who to enforce. So Molly decides she's going to start a podcast about it, what's going on. She calls it Dress Coded, and at first, things do not go so well. And the girls who go on this podcast, they start to get bullied. But as the podcast starts to gain more followers, especially outside of their community, and the girls start to share their own stories, what starts as a peaceful protest grows into a movement in which students and adults can no longer ignore. This is something that many females face at one time or another. This is all about taking matters into your own hands and making a difference for everyone around you. This is Dress Coded. Roll with it. So 12-year-old Ellie loves to bake and she dreams of being a world-known and famous baker. But she doesn't want to be known as the girl in the wheelchair with cerebral palsy. When she and her mother have to move to Oklahoma to help her grandparents, Ellie's world is turned upside down. Not only is she the new kid in school, but she's also the new kid in a wheelchair, and her grandfather is suffering from Alzheimer's, and he's starting not to remember Ellie, and Ellie doesn't know how to deal with all of this. As she starts her new school, though, Ellie starts to make friends with Coralie and Bert, and soon their acceptance of her changes everything, especially what she thinks of her role in this new place. When Ellie decides that she wants to enter the annual pie contest at the church picnic, her new friends decide they want to also help Ellie figure out a way to stay forever, because this is, again, supposed to be a temporary move while her grandparents just need help. They want her to stay forever. This realistic look at family, friendship, and that it's okay to be different and to accept everyone for who they are is one that is totally relatable. This is Roll With It. And our last one for tonight is Pony. So 12-year-old Silas lives in Ohio with his father and a ghost only he can see. Now, mind you, it is the year 1860. One night, 3 strange men appear at the house and they tell his father that he has to go with them. But he's going to be back in a week. That's the deal. He needs to go with us. He'll come back in a week. Silas knows, though, something is completely wrong when the next morning, one of the horses the men were riding appears back at the farm, only without its rider. And he knows that it's his father who sent this horse to him as a message that he is going to need help. So Silas decides that he needs to go after his father and save him and help him from whatever is going on. But it is going to mean facing his own fears. If you love historical fiction with some Western elements in it, with some mystery built in, there's some crime, again, there's a kidnapping, you don't know what's going on, this adventure will keep you on the edge of your seat, guessing what's going to happen next, turning the pages as fast as you can. Written by the same person who wrote Wonder, you know you're in for a great story. This is Pony. So these are just 6 of my favorites so far for this year. So I encourage you to check out one of these, or if you have a favorite and you want to share it, please, totally do. I love hearing about people's favorite books, especially if we can encourage one another and we can help people find those amazing, perfect books that they would love to read. I hope you tune back next week when we have a whole new middle grade book spotlight, and I hope you have an amazing week.